I can't believe it either. We actually have an update for Starfield that looks to significantly, in my view, improve the exploration experience. And that is that they have actually gone through and added a rover to the game. They just announced this at Gamescom earlier today, and then they shadow dropped it with a big update for the game to get people back in before the DLC comes out here in a matter of weeks / a month and a half-ish. But I figured we would give this a shot. Now, obviously, I have some pretty firm opinions on Starfield at this point. I have played the game a lot, and I've also made a lot of videos on the game. I've even made an 8-hour deep dive called the Starfield Saga, which I'll have linked in the description box below, which is, let's just say, comprehensive. But in that video, I explain a lot of the problems I have with Starfield, a lot of my issues with how they designed it. And one of the big issues is just how they designed exploration. The very concept of exploration in the game, I think, is severely flawed, at least until now. And that is, if you look at a map of the, okay, this isn't scripted. Why are all of the textures planet material? The swap hasn't occurred. You shouldn't be seeing this. What? Did I? Okay, like this isn't this again. This is not scripted. I'm genuinely confused because I just loaded into a save and all of the planet textures are gone. Okay. I'm okay. Another Starfield update. Surprising Luke and breaking his brain. Let's go back to whatever the hell we were talking about. Okay, I don't know how to deal with that. But if we go to surface map, this is what I was trying to show you. So full disclosure, I don't know why it's doing that. I have some creations installed, which are like the official Bethesda creations, like for the added Vulture quest line and stuff that they have officially released. I don't know why it would be causing these issues, but it's kind of beside the point of what I'm actually trying to show you, which is exploration in the game. If we look at how this works when you land on a random spot on a planet or moon, you can see in this case I picked just a random spot on the moon of Boner. There's like points of interest marked, and then you can see all of this emptiness all around the map. And this is sort of the fishbowl that's been procedurally generated around me for me to explore when I pick that random spot. And the reason, in my view, there's a big problem with Starfield's original design of exploration is that in order to really explore, you just kind of have to run in a certain direction and hope you find something interesting. But as you do that, this is the gameplay. You're just holding down W and running forward, hoping to find something. And maybe you do. Oh, there's a ship over there. So there's that. But once you reach that point, you're just going to turn and run over in that direction and hope you find something else. But all the while, even though I see that in front of me, I'm just running. And this is it. It takes an uncomfortably long amount of time to get anywhere, and even then you might arrive at a point of interest that isn't actually interesting. And so I think it's a real fatal flaw in the way that they set up the procedural system, is just frankly that exploration in Starfield is boring and becomes increasingly boring the more that you do it. And I actually will defend Bethesda a little bit. I think that this was sort of the brilliance of not including like maps for planet surfaces, because when there's a map of the planet surface, you can pull it up and look at how empty it is and realize, oh, it's not worth running over here. There's not really anything really interesting there. Sure, technically random things can then appear and you could discover them and they're just not on the map, but this really makes you realize how empty these environments are. And so I think that these maps actually do more harm than good, frankly. With a lot of this, I think they actually discourage people from exploring, but you know, that's a whole other issue for another time, where I think that addition to cities, like city maps, was a good addition, but I think adding maps to planet surfaces when you're exploring was actually probably a net negative for exploration, which was already struggling. But again, it's a topic for another day. What we're here to try in this video is the rover that allegedly fixes this problem, because it'll make it so you can go from the ship to this point of interest very, very quickly. So you're not spending 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes running to each point of interest. You can actually just arrive there fast and, you know, not waste any time. Oh, wait, you know what we should also check is the sniper rifle that they had as a paid DLC. Basically, if you're not familiar, Bethesda sold a quest line for like $7, and I've made a video covering this previously, which went through it. But basically, they made a quest that they cut out of the base game and then sold it back to people for $7, and the reward for that quest was this gun that I'm holding here. However, when they dropped the quest, you couldn't actually fire more than 4 rounds. If you fired all 4 rounds in the clip, you couldn't reload it. It was just broken. So we're gonna find out together if they actually fixed that in this like latest patch that they just dropped today. So let's see. 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. Can I reload? No freaking way. I am not kidding. I am pressing R. Enhance. That is the R key. That is the R key, and it's not reloading. They still haven't fixed it, dude. You can't make this up. Unbelievable. I paid $7 effectively for this gun, so I could tell you guys it wasn't worth buying. And even then, what is it now, a month or 2 after the fact? It's still broken. You can't reload the damn thing. That's... I am at a loss for words. So for one, they broke textures for planets, at least for me, and they still haven't fixed the gun. Okay, let's see how this stupid rover works. Now, it's pretty simple. To buy a vehicle, basically you go to one of the local spaceports effectively. You talk to the guy, and then you say, I want to purchase a vehicle. Okay, no problem. And then you're prompted with this: explore planets with a vehicle. Your purchase will unlock access to your own vehicle hangar and automatically equip your ship with the REV8. Purchase for 25,000 credits. And this would make me assume they're going to be adding more vehicles, or they're going to open this to modders at the very, very least. So it looks like this is just the first of many, but we're going to say yes. You can now access your vehicles. The REV8 will automatically deploy next to your ship wherever you land. Visit a ship services tech at any major port to manage your vehicles. Okay, so let's just try it. It says I can also customize the color. Oh, that's cool. I didn't see that in the trailer. I like that. Okay, let's make it this kind of burnt orange, orangey red. Okay, that looks good. Go team. Oh, look, now the textures are working again. Okay, so I don't know why that is. Let's go here. Let's just pick a random spot. We'll start in a mountainous area, and let's see how this damn thing works. This is like the first time, other than horses, that we've had vehicles in a Bethesda game, and it's previously been, as far as I've understood it from modders and people who are much, much smarter than me, it's because data streaming in the creation engine ain't that good, but this promises to fix that. So for one, I'm going to put on screen a little performance indicator up in the top left so you can see frames, just in case the frame rate has problems. But as we start driving, we got a little boost. And so we can kind of gauge how this works. Now, right off the bat, I'll say it definitely controls very lightweight. It's a little weird. It can actually move in the air. So if I go off a big ramp, maybe I can show you. It doesn't seem to be like a physics-based driving model. It seems... well, it does seem to depend on grip. I don't know, it feels just a little weird. But if I boost and I go up in the air, oh, I hit a rock. You can actually steer it in the air, which is a little weird to get used to, but I'm sure I will. And as I race up here, you can see I can steer while I'm flying. But okay, if we go first person, how does this look? Honestly, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, and bear in mind, this is a mountainous area. This is like worst case scenario for this buggy. the best case scenario would be like a flat open moon or something. So let's try that. Here we are. This looks good. Let's just go to a really random spot, a flat spot. Let's select it, and we're going to land maybe in one of these more pretty craters. Okay, we're gonna load in. Landing site looks clean. They do have this like random rock pattern that they use on a lot of these like moon bodies, I guess. And from an aerial view, it looks very, very familiar and very regular. I mean, you can kind of see the pattern breaking out, but not bad. Okay, so let's just say we're driving straight south. Okay, so I've got my objective marker pinned there. I'm gonna hop in the buggy just like this, and then we can take off in that direction. I can still use my visor, and so I can use that to analyze, but with that, we can just start driving. And the idea is basically that this should greatly speed up the time it takes to get to points of interest, or at the very least to explore these areas so that you know whether or not there is a point of interest. I will say already I can tell pop-in is certainly a thing that we're dealing with, even with everything cranked out the ass. But this is a Bethesda game, so we're kind of used to it. And as we drive, I mean, I would guess people are gonna start modding the crap out of this. I didn't mean to hop out. Okay, that's my bad. I'm guessing people are gonna like totally unlock the boost so you can just start flying, basically. There's gonna be a lot of crazy mods to this. But if you're just holding down W, you run at, like, you're probably rolling at about the sprint pace. I'd say probably about the sprint pace, maybe a little bit slower. But when you're in first person, it definitely looks a lot better. But when you use the boost, it actually does boost you. I mean, you get going pretty fast. It's not that easy to control, and when it hits random rocks, it definitely pops off in semi-unpredictable ways. But I would consider this to be an improvement, honestly. And I mean, it's the big thing with Luke Stevens videos. I try to be as fair as I can be, and when they do something good, they get a pat on the head. When they do something bad, like not fixing a $7 quest they sold people that should have been included in the game to begin with, and they've not fixed it after months and months, I'm gonna say bad Bethesda, bad Todd. But when they do this, honestly, good job, Todd. This is good, especially because there's clips of Todd Howard talking about rovers and exploration with vehicles and stuff prior to the game launching, and he said that that wasn't something they were doing. They had boost packs and that's it. So to see them make a 180 and add this to the game is, I think, you know, it takes a little bit of cojones to be willing to admit that you were wrong and add stuff like this. So props. And if I pull up the map, you can see we've already almost reached our objective marker. It's expanded our view of the fishbowl that it generated for us. And this has gone much, much faster than it would have otherwise. Running on foot, this would have taken probably twice as long, if not longer. And so I'll give them that. But my question is also whether or not they've expanded the size of the fishbowls. Because if you remember, Starfield basically creates mini maps every time you load into a spot on a planet that wasn't handcrafted, basically, like New Atlantis, for example. And as a result, once you reach the threshold of that tile that's been generated, it will basically give you an error code and say, oh, you've got to, or not really an error code, it'll give you a warning sign saying, oh, you've got to go back to your ship or turn around because this is the world's edge, effectively. And if you want to keep exploring, you have to load into a nearby tile and basically re-land your ship somewhere. My question with the rover is, now that it's faster to navigate and get across planets, like, have they expanded the size of them so that we don't hit those barriers as quickly? Because even running on foot, I ran into them a number of times in my base run without even really trying, just while trying to explore. And so I'm wondering if they've really expanded it at all. And I have a feeling we're going to find out real quick. Oh, there it is. Okay. So just like that, we are at the barrier. And honestly, like, we've arrived. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Honestly, we arrived there pretty quickly. When all was said and done, you can see the ship is actually outside of the generated map that they have for us. But this was at the bottom of the square when we initially selected it, and we've gone about the same distance, maybe a little bit, like half the distance actually. But it's basically one map's worth and then an extra half or quarter is the size of the map, at least in this case. And so you do still hit the barriers. It does seem like it's the same size as before without the rovers. So I don't think they've changed it, but I think most people probably will rarely run into it. Because again, like, in order to enjoy something like Starfield, you kind of have to turn off the expectations in your mind that you're going to be able to just ride around a planet and find something crazy tucked away in a corner somewhere. Like, in a typical Bethesda game, I might look at that rocky outcrop and go, ooh, I bet there's something good there. But in Starfield, you have to think of it and remember, like, nope, this is procedurally generated. There's no POI or anything, so I don't think there's going to be anything there. I won't bother. And it's unfortunate that exploration in this big galaxy-sized game is limited in that way, and you have to tell yourself, don't bother exploring, which is kind of antithetical to what makes Bethesda games really good when they work, in my opinion. But again, it's just, in order to really enjoy Starfield, I think you just have to meet it halfway and turn your brain off to a lot of things. And if you can do that, you can have a pretty good time, but you gotta flip the stupid switch sometimes. So if we're gonna wrap, oh, no way. It crashed. It crashed. I did a cutaway. Dude, this is what's amazing about Bethesda games and Starfield in general, is I can be filming a video and I'm like, Jacob, you know, my editor, I'm like, Jacob, don't worry. It's going to be a quick and easy video, like 20 minutes long. I'm just going to like get in there, talk about Starfield, talk about the update. Really easy. It'll cut down to like 10 minutes. It's going to be awesome. And then stuff like this just happens and it makes it so much more interesting, does it not? Well, I guess I gotta boot it up for the wrap up of this video, right? I mean, I think that's what I gotta do. My poor computer. It's begging to not bother, but anyway, I guess the point of all of this is just to say that, as can be seen with the still broken DLC mods, whatever, the still frequent crashes and stuff, this is still Starfield. Like, the rover's nice. It's not like it's bad or anything. I think, like I said earlier, some additions they've done, like the planet maps, have actually been probably net negatives for the exploration of the game. But as far as exploration is concerned, I think that the rovers actually do add a good amount. And I think it's going to really help new players who are getting into the game for the first time have an easier go of it. And I think that this is a great first step to improving the exploration, like, gameplay loop for players who are looking to sink their teeth into Starfield for hours and hours and hours and hours. So I do think that this is a good addition. But as other people have said, this is one step forward, and I think Starfield needs another like 10, 15, 20 steps forward to really be at a point where it's the game I think a lot of people were hoping it would be. And I think they can get there. They've already said they want to support this game for years, and I think they can do that. But I think it's just going to take a lot of commitment on their part, and it's going to take a lot of work. But this is a great first big step as far as I'm concerned. In the meantime, you know, I hope that they can fix some of the things that are just hilariously wrong with the game, such as the broken DLC that they've been charging for. I don't know how on earth they haven't fixed that yet, but that's one they need to get on, frankly. Even just for optics, it's just a bad look to charge money for something and have it broken months and months after launch. Like, it's just a bad look, dude. Oh, wait. Now it's reloading. Oh. Okay. I just needed to drive the rover. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but I guess the game just needed a crash to get it out of its system. See, you know what? Maybe the lack of reload is not even a bug. Maybe it's a feature, because the sense of discovery in Starfield is so strong that as you're playing, things that were broken just a moment ago are now fixed and improved. So it's actually a feature. It's not bad, it's good. Todd was right all along. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but you know, now it is. So I guess that point is corrected, at least potentially, if it works for you as well. But this, okay, we'll count this as 2 steps forward. They've done what some would say is bare minimum, which now they have a DLC they charge $7 for, and the reward for the DLC's completion works. And then there's also rovers in the game, which I think is, again, a good addition. So I think they're on their way. They just are like, they started here and now they're there. They need to get over there and they can do it, but they just got to keep on it. And if they do that, I think they could find some success. You know, it really makes me wonder. There's been all this talk of the game potentially coming to PlayStation 5. Of course, they just today announced that Indiana Jones is going to be coming to PS5 next spring, while it's launching in December on Xbox and PC. So it makes me wonder if Starfield is going to be one of those games going to PlayStation 5 relatively soon. And if it is, I want to hear from you PlayStation players out there who potentially are watching this video. Like, are you interested? You might be like, yeah, I've been waiting. And honestly, I think the day one version we're getting is better than the day one version Xbox gamers got, in which case, awesome. Like, maybe you're super stoked about it. Maybe you're not interested. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely interested in whether PlayStation players would be interested in a Starfield if it came like a year after launch. Well, I guess it's already almost been a year after launch, like in a couple of weeks. So I guess like a year and a half, 2 years after launch, would you still be interested? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But with that, I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say. I would say, ooh, I'll play lots more of Starfield now that I have the Rover. And maybe I will, like in a year, maybe like for Shattered Space, you know, I might get a good feeling for it when that DLC launches here in like 5-6 weeks. But I don't really see myself doing another run through of the game for a very long time. I'm just a wee bit burnt out on it, as are, I think, a lot of players. But maybe if they continue making improvements like this, that'll be all the more tempting. Because I think for really good games, I personally get the itch to replay them after like a year. You know, I've had the itch to go back and redo runs of Baldur's Gate, for example. I need another fix. And like even Hogwarts Legacy, I've had the urge to go back and play some more of. So maybe I'll feel that way about Starfield in 6 months. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not feeling that way right now. I mean, I'm driving this around. I'm like, okay. It's like, it's here. Yep. I'm glad to have it. I wish it were here at launch, but you know what? Maybe I will find it all the more useful in a subsequent run. But I think once you've already played a lot of Starfield, it's going to be like, okay, cool addition, but I've kind of seen all of the repeated points of interest already. So now I can just see them again faster, which is, again, technically better, but it doesn't really change the fundamental problems with Starfield, which is just that there's limited points of interest. A lot of them are repeated. And at the end of the day, even with a rover, as you explore far off things that seem like they could hold interesting secrets and discoveries, because the game is so massive and frankly realistic in how it approaches these planets being barren and pretty boring, because most planets in the galaxy are, there's just not much to find. And again, it's realistic, it's more grounded than not, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's fun as far as a video game is concerned. But again, this is all stuff I've rambled about at length in that 8-hour critique, so I will leave that once again linked below if you're interested in tackling that video. I wish you luck and Godspeed, because that one was a beast to make, and I'm sure it's only even more of a beast to consume. So Todd be with you. But with that said, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, because a solid like 30% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed. So go and do that. And until next time, thank you for watching. I love you all desperately. Thank you for making my dreams a reality every single day. I love you very much. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.